I was an English major in college. I was a journalist when I graduated for a while, so I always wanted to write a book, but it was always on the back burner. You know how that is with your goals. And I was working for a chiropractor as a massage therapist, and every now and then people would cancel, and I'd have some downtime, so I brought my laptop and I just started writing. And I just wrote in little increments, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and pretty soon I had this book, this fiction book, that I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And so I entered a contest through HarperCollins that a friend told me about. And you put the entire book on there and people give you your comments and feedback. And I was kind of scared about it because a lot of times other writers tend to tear you apart and give you a lot of really scary criticism. But I really wanted to see if this was something worthwhile. And what I found is that a lot of people gave me really positive feedback on it and were really excited about this book. So I thought, well, I really got something here. But then I didn't really know what to do in order to get it published. I'd already published a book in 2007, my Yoga for a Broken Heart, which I will tell you how I got that contract in a little bit. But they were through Finhorn, which is a non-fiction publisher, and this is now fiction. And so I went to the bookstore and I started spinning my wheels and getting that how do you publish a book, and started talking to people, and I wrote out a whole bunch of query letters, and I got real busy and I got a little nervous and anxious about it. And I thought, you know what, I really need to practice what I preach and slow down and kind of sit with this a while, meditate on it, and see if the answers will come to me. So I did just that. I sat in my massage studio, and all of a sudden, I had this idea that I should go online and Google my literary agent. I thought, well, that's just way too easy. There's no way it's that simple. And I had 5 minutes before I had a client coming in. I thought, this is ridiculous. I don't have time to do this. But I'd already drafted a query letter, which is kind of like a cover letter for when you're trying to get a job. And I Googled my literary agency, and one company came up. Now, I've since done that, and there have been literally thousands of companies that come up. But that one time, it was magical because it was this one company. I got this intuition that I should just follow up on it and send it. So I did, and a week later, they gave me a call and said, not only do we love your concept, but we think we have a publisher for it already. I was like, wow. That's really incredible, because if you know anything about the book publishing industry, you can write the greatest book, but to try and get a contract is a whole other matter. This book was kind of the same way. I had this idea for Yoga for a Broken Heart because I owned a yoga studio for 5 years. And often when people would do their yoga practice, what I found is that it gave them the space to be really present with how they were feeling. And so afterwards, they just come up to me with all these stories and all this pain and suffering that would come as a result of that. And I thought, what a great way to process your emotions. There's got to be a book on this. And when I looked it up, it hadn't been done. So another friend of mine came up to me and told me about Finhorn, which I'd never heard of. And they're pretty famous. They're a spiritual community in Scotland that have been around for 30 years, and I had no idea what they were about. But I sent out a query to 20 different publishers, and they were the first on the list. And my goals that year were to go to Paris and to get a book contract. And so, you know, they're just my goals. I didn't know if I was going to reach them or not, but they were my dreams. And a week after I sent that query in, I got a call from Terry from Paris that, again, they loved the idea, and yeah, we're going to send you a book contract. So my point in saying this is not just to brag, it's that, you know, I tried to put into words, because people always say to me, well, how do you do that? How do you manifest things like that so easily? And it's not necessarily easily, but I tried to come up with a process of how I really do this. And so I call this process flow. Based on the type of yoga I practice is flow yoga, as well as my business is flow massage and yoga therapy. And this whole idea of being in the flow of things, because that's what, you know, we all want to go with the flow. So it's an acronym for me. It stands for faith, love, oneness, and work. So whenever I come up with something that either I really want to do or it's a conflict or a decision I have to make, I have to stop and go back to my basic precepts of faith, love, oneness, and work.